Hello everyone and welcome to Explicit Pleasures on Big Deal Radio. I'm your host Ray, aka Miss Big Deal, and we have an awesome show for y'all. Our topic for the evening: who cheats more, men or women? And could you seriously date someone with a promiscuous past? On our male panel we have Bless, Deep Duval, and Visa, in which we will get to them shortly. And of course we have the lovely ladies of Explicit Pleasures, Just Create, Coco, and Susie. This show is sponsored by Waterworks Natural Vaginal Therapy. Visit waterworkshealth.com for more info. Let's start it off. Who cheats more, men or women? Hello, ladies.
Hey.
Hey. I'm good. I'm awesome. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for asking. How you doing?
I'm great. So, who cheats more? Who want to go first?
In my opinion, women cheat more. We just don't get caught as bouncing.
And who am I speaking with?
Just Create.
Hey. So you feel like women cheat more, we just don't get caught?
Yeah, we just better at it.
Just like that.
Just like that?
Well, this is Coco. I have to disagree. Men are such whores, at least in my experience. I mean, women cheat the same, but I don't know, I still can't see us cheating more than men, because we get caught up in our feelings and things. Men, they could just cheat and come home to their lady like ain't nothing happened. So, I don't know, I beg to differ on that one.
You know, this is Susie. I definitely agree with Coco. And Just Create, actually. I do believe that, women are much more capable of being sneakier and better at it. But I think that, as far as frequency, the guys definitely have it hands down. Their impulses and things like that shoot off much quicker than ours do. Women tend to take the time and actually think about the relationship that they're going to ruin before they do it. Things like that. So I definitely think the guys have got us on this one.
Okay. I agree also. I definitely think men cheat more. Women, usually, I think we cheat if we have a reason. Usually insecurity, he's cheating on me, I'm not getting what I want from home. I feel like men, ooh, she got a fat ass, I want to hit. And it's just that simple. I agree with Just Create. I definitely agree with her, because I could call any one of you ladies right now and be like, hey ladies, I'm right here with my guy, can you tell him last night we was doing this? And y'all gonna improvise. Y'all will improvise. Girl, yeah, you know you shouldn't have worn those shoes, your feet was hurting, and y'all really could take it there. So I definitely agree with Just Create also. We are definitely more colorful with our lives, and we're a lot smarter. It was a saying, men are dogs, women are cats. The difference between cats are dogs, cats cover up their shit. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. The second part, could you date someone with a promiscuous past?
Okay. I think, this is Coco, I think knowingly, I think it's possible. Definitely it's possible. I think knowingly dating someone with a promiscuous past is very hard, and that relationship probably won't last as long, because you constantly have this in the back of your head, and then it creates issues of trust and things like that. My mom told me a long time ago, don't never tell your man if you cheated on him, ever. She's like, take that to the grave. So, it's like, is that really something that you should bring up or tell him? Like, if you were promiscuous, it's okay to tell him that you slept with 2 people, not 10, so I think it's okay, but I just think everything doesn't have to be disclosed.
Okay.
I agree with you. If we're upfront with it in the beginning and I know this is what's happening, or maybe we've been around each other for a long time, so I know what your MO is, as long as I'm upfront with you, but I feel like it'll work as long as whoever the non-promiscuous one is not the one who's always bringing up that person's past. Because if they're with you and they've told you all this, I feel like they're trying to change, and you may be that person, and they feel like you're that person that they need to change for. So you shouldn't hold up their past and use it against them.
So I feel like that extra work.
Okay. This is Susie. I do definitely have a couple of comments on this subject. First of all, I think that the promiscuity that we're talking about should be defined as in if you're being a cheater in your relationships or if you are being a single person and doing, single people things and being promiscuous and having lots of partners. I think that those two things make huge distinctions on the basis of our conversation. Secondly, where let's say you have the person that's single and they've been single for a while and just out there doing anything and whatever, having fun. Okay, for me that's fine. That's whatever. You're single, do your single thing. But as a person that I'm looking to be in a relationship with, I need to know that when you're in a relationship that you can be faithful, that you can be a one-woman man or a one-man girl. That needs to be clarified before anything else happens, or nothing's going to last.
Okay.
I agree.
I personally, I think it's a lot to come into play. Like Susie said, I first want to know what exactly do you consider promiscuous? Let's do the math. Let's say you're 30. You started having sex at 16. You have 14 years, right? And let's say that you slept with 2 people per year. That's a count. You kind of have a count. So it depends on what it is. Promiscuous is being promiscuous a number or back to back? How you understand what I'm saying? Like how often? Like is being promiscuous having sex with a different person every week? Is being promiscuous a certain number per year? So I guess I would have to figure out what exactly would be considered promiscuous. As far as the past, everyone has one. Everyone has one. Yeah. People used to cheat, used to still don't do it anymore. They have sayings, once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't agree with that. People change. People want different shit. They want to do different things. Right. So I don't agree with that. I think that I don't want to be judged on some of the things I did in my past that I'm not so proud of. As long as when you're with me, you're with me and we're open, I think that I could deal with it. Honestly, I think this is more for men. Men definitely have a problem with a woman's count. They feel as though if you've had 80 partners, your pussy has that kind of wear and tear. And which is very possible. I personally don't know. Maybe so, but I don't think that a pussy has a deadline or an expiration date or after so many numbers, that's it, But I definitely think that men have the problem with women and who they slept with in the past. I like to give y'all a brief example. Someone I knew, she had a baby dad. They were at a party. At a party, he noticed it was a group of guys, about 5 guys, and he was all in a circle, drinking a beer, kind of looking and talking. So he was curious as to what they were talking about. He went over there to join the little circle, drink the beer, and he realized they were talking about his baby mom and how every single guy in that circle hit, and they were talking about their experiences. They were talking about how, when, etc. And he was so shamed by that. After the party, he broke up with her, and he told her he can't do it. He's shamed to walk down the street with her. He feel like when people look at them, he feel like she didn't have sex with a guy that may have, maybe staring at them. Like his insecurities really got in the way, and he actually told her they can't work because he's ashamed to be with her because he don't know who she had sex with and etc. So it really got ugly. And I think that's more of a man thing for a female, because as the first part of the question, whoever said men are dogs, or I forget the exact wording, have a plan. Men, like I said, me personally, my opinion, they cheat just because a girl got a fat ass, some nice titties, some thick thigh. I mean, for no reason, because it's Tuesday and they turning up, they cheating. You know what I'm saying? So obviously, their number would definitely be a little higher than someone else's, well, a woman's number, hopefully, in some cases. Average woman, we'll say that exactly. So I think that, in my opinion, it depends on who it is and how they define being promiscuous. We have a call. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Define it.
Just that's
it's been one before you, baby.
Just that simple. So you a lie about it.
My mom told me, don't tell the truth with the other day. Well, no, when she told me about it, it wasn't in reference to promiscuity. It was in reference more like if I'm with someone and I happen to cheat on him, then don't tell him is what she was saying. So, but you know, I kind of like associate that with the same difference, like, because like you say, a woman can go. A man can go and have sex with anyone and not think twice about it and then come home and lay up. But when a woman does it, it's, she's a hoe and this and that and other. So I just that's like a cardinal rule for me for the most part.
Definitely.
This is Susie. I definitely am, in agreement that it's definitely more of a male issue, that, that insecurity. I definitely think that, more, I feel like in that area particularly that more women are secure with themselves. They do realize, kind of just the general patterns of men, and they realize that, okay, he's probably had sex before at least once. So, yeah. I'm really not concerned with, who these other girls were, or, where they're walking around or what they're doing. I don't care. I'm not worried about that. My concern is my relationship with you. That's my focus. Everything outside of that doesn't mean shit. You know what I mean? Because if we can't get it straight for us, if we can't get the two of us together, then it doesn't matter what happens when we go out into the world, because everybody will be able to tear it apart.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Okay, that's real shit. We have a caller online, number ending in 2031. Welcome to Explicit Pleasures.
Hey, this is Matthew. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling in, Matthew. Our topic is who cheats more, men or women?
It's the question of who gets caught more. Because who cheats more, who knows? But to me, it's who gets caught more.
Well, we kind of came to the conclusion that y'all get caught more. Men definitely take that medal.
Because we're stupid. And don't think that we try to be slick, or not at all.
No.
So is it safe to say that you think that men get caught more, therefore they cheat more?
No, definitely not. That's jumping the gun. Definitely.
Okay.
They're smarter about it. They're sneakier about it. It's, those nights out, you get a little drunk, and buy you some drinks. You all for you. Yada yada yada. You wake up the next morning, and I'm supposed to sleep on my girlfriend's couch. Yeah. Ooh.
Hello.
Or my homie.
Okay, Matt. I'm sorry, I think you went out. The second part of the question is, could you date someone with a promiscuous past?
How promiscuous are we talking?
That's a good question. How promiscuous are we talking? Anyone want to throw a situation out there?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael Malcolm.
I was just gonna say, it depends on, as long as you're safe the whole time, then yeah, but, you know, if you need to check up on the clinic before we go out to dinner, then, you know, you need to do that.
So you go to the clinic before dinner. Dang, you hard.
So, I mean, so pretty much, so if you are going to dinner, you're assuming that you're getting the ass.
Clearly. And that's all we need is a dinner, and we go on to the bedroom right after that.
Oh, we're just supposed to be friends? Like, no, of course, down the road. We need to
Well, I guess you don't have to be friends, but I mean, I guess you could assume. I mean, but honestly, I don't see that even happening like that, because I'm like, this guy wants to take me to the doctor, and we haven't even done anything together yet. Like, we haven't even went anywhere together or anything. So why? So obviously, you're thinking you're gonna get in my panties, just by taking me to dinner. Like, yo, let's go to dinner, but before we go to dinner, I need you to go to the clinic with me. Just to get tested, just to make sure. Like, nigga, what are you thinking? Like, you thinking it's like that? It's gonna happen just like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can understand if you're dating for a while and then you finally decide to take the next step and then you want to go to the clinic and things like that. But just before you take the dinner, oh yeah, I got some questions. There's a bunch of questions coming for you after that.
I mean,
I don't know. I think I can respect Mike's mind. We gotta know each other's status. We gotta know what's going on. So if I know beforehand what the deal is, you might not need to waste each other's time.
How the question was phrased, it was more like, you know what's up. Like, you already know why we're gonna meet up, and I already know that they have a promiscuous past. Like, if it's somebody I don't know, I'm just meeting them for the first time. Of course, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I've seen you on some films online. Let's go to the clinic real quick. I mean, let's eat dinner.
I've seen your whole documentary.
The doctors are more expensive than the dinner, you know. But if I know it depends on how the situation lies.
Right. Yeah. I get the drift, and I totally respect that, because I'm with it. Like, before we take that step, baby, let's go together. You know, I'm just saying how you said before dinner, and it's like, what? Wait a minute. But no, I totally understand what you're saying.
I guess I'm still stuck on that. So in order for me to have dinner, I got to get a test?
No. It depends. It's like I was saying, it depends on how, like, what we meeting up for. And how is it phrased? Is it Netflix and Chipotle type thing, or is it, like an actual date?
Hold on, wait. Just create love Chipotle. Wait a minute. I'm about to say Netflix is a hookup, according to last week. Yes. Netflix. If you're watching Netflix, you need to go to the clinic first. Agreed.
Yeah, those are the keywords. That's the keywords for come hit. Want to watch a movie on Netflix?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty hip to that. It was worded as a could you seriously date someone, meaning it possibly turn into a relationship. So because it was worded like that, I guess that is valid to want to go to the doctor and be tested. I want to switch this up a little bit because it kind of jogged my mind. Now I'm wondering, what do y'all consider promiscuous? I'm pretty sure we all probably have our different definitions. So what do y'all consider being promiscuous in the first place?
Susie? So now, Susie? Is that who you called? Yeah. Well, I was actually just thinking on that myself. I don't know that I've ever actually taken the time to sit down and, like, define the terms of promiscuity, you know. Like,
as far as, just for myself personally, or how I might, I don't even want to say judge, but, let's just say look at another person, based on their, sexual history. I think that if, even if you are a single person, I think that, a different guy every week is a lot. It's 52 weeks in the year. So let's just go ahead and throw that out there first off. So, that's a lot. And I think that, I just don't know. I feel like I need a little more time to think on this.
Okay. What about you, Just Create? I'm sorry, go ahead, Matthew.
I think, to me, if you have more than 2 different partners in the same month, to me, I would consider you promiscuous.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You can have,
and that you considering.
That's his definition of being promiscuous. 2 partners a month, you are promiscuous, says Matthew. So there's a lot of people out there that's listening. You're promiscuous.
That's a man or a woman, right?
Yeah, either or.
Oh, okay. I like that.
There's definitely promiscuous step between, that vanilla and, a freak, so to speak. There's an in-between stage.
Okay.
Just Create. What's your definition?
You're giving me.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. This is Susie. I have to throw a hypothetical out there, okay? Just because I like to play devil's advocate, and I just want to mess with Matt right now. So, if you are, let's say you are dating someone, okay? You're seriously dating. You guys are in a relationship, and what month is this? June? Okay, well, it's about to be July. So, the first week of July, you guys are still together. So, you have sex with your significant other, okay? Let's say the second week of July, you guys break up for whatever reason. And you, go back to an ex, an old cuddy buddy or whatever, because you just kind of want to get over it, but you don't want to be out there yet with it. So maybe, let's say you sleep with her. Then, 2 weeks later, the end of the month, the end of July, let's say the first day of August, just for me to be a dick about it. And you meet a whole new girl, stuff is off and popping, things have been going well, you guys sleep together. You're now promiscuous?
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
I'm very promiscuous.
I'm glad he stuck to his gun.
No, to make sure.
Don't take it wrong. More men thought that way.
Yo, no. You hear me wrong.
I personally think if we go by Matthew, there's a lot of promiscuous people that's listening to this show that we pass every day that may be on this phone line.
Absolutely. Those are standards in the world that we're living in.
Yes, they are.
Okay, we have a new caller online, 3933. Welcome to Explicit Pleasures. Who's calling?
Hey. This is Cleopatra.
Hey, Cleopatra, how you doing this evening?
I'm alright.
Would you like to touch on our topic? The first part of our topic is who cheats more, men or women?
In today's society, I believe it's a fair draw.
Just like that.
I think, actually, probably women these days, honestly.
Wow.
I agree with Cleopatra. This is my opinion. That's what I said from the beginning.
Okay. Do you have a
women
reason for
have,
that?
number one, gotten better at it, and they've indulged so much to the point where they really just don't care.
Yeah. That's very valid. I could agree with that. Seeing it
I
that way.
understand where you're coming from, Cleopatra. In my opinion, I feel as if we're better at it, so we're not necessarily known for it. but that doesn't mean that we're not doing it.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
Yeah. So that's where I feel women would have a higher rating in this day and age.
Right. I mean, we would just never know about it because, like I said, women are more calculated, to be quite honest. Men just kind of do it. For women, it's more of a thought process. So it's a calculated move, always, especially if you're in a marriage or a long-term relationship, because you may just want to feel better or get a dig in, but it doesn't necessarily mean your partner has to know about it. So.
So you just need that 1 weekend pass. That's all.
Just like that. The second part I will question Cleopatra is, could you seriously date someone with a promiscuous past?
I mean, I did touch, like, maybe the last little bit of that conversation, and I agree that touch should be done on both sides, but people change. And just because, I mean, we kind of had this conversation last week, you know, when you put your whole card away, you kind of, you know, you can reform that. So if you have a promiscuous past, then I might be able to pass that depending on what your situation is. Now, if it's something that's ongoing and you're like, but when I get with you, things are going to change. Absolutely not. Right.
And what's your definition of promiscuous?
Personally, my definition, I guess it would be just, it's a mind frame, because some people are just sexually free. At least that's what they say. I heard Matt say 2 people in the same month, but then I heard the analogy, and if you think about it like that, if you've been with somebody for 5 years and you sleep with them right before you break up, is that really being promiscuous? So I would have to say, like, if you had a couple different people you can call on any given day, and it's not just we gonna go hang out, but it's like he's gonna come smash, and if he don't, then he is, and if he don't, then he is. Then yeah, you might be a little. If you have a backup plan to your backup plan, and then there's a backup plan to that, you're promiscuous. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I just think you prepared. That's all you
I do think a lot of women have a roster, even if they don't put it into effect. I think a lot of women, you know, I mean, men as well, you know, I think we all have people that we could call, you know what I mean? It's just whether or not you actually do make the call and if you do follow through on it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think about the male and female friendship. And you don't see my fingers, but those are quotation marks, because every friendship started with something underlying, and it may not have been sexual, but there was some kind of connection that caused you to stick close to that person. And most times there's a sexual connection, and then you just find out later we make better friends. So, I mean, at any given moment, you have like 1 or 2 friends, male or female, that you can have fly through, and you can go right back to being friends. But that could be more. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's your roster. That just means you know that at some point that person is interested, and you could probably coax them into doing it if you really wanted to. I have people like that, but I don't consider it a roster, because my first thought would definitely not be to call on those people when in need. So.
Okay. So what's the difference between a hoe and a promiscuous woman?
I don't think there's a difference. I don't think there's a difference. By definition, promiscuous, demonstrating or implying an undiscriminating or unselective approach, indiscriminate or casual. And then it also says having or characterized by many transient sexual partner relationships. So, undiscriminating, unselective, I think those are the perfect words to describe promiscuity. Yeah, and holism, honestly. And holism, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think at some point they come hand in hand, but the difference for me is you can have a man or a woman who's promiscuous because they like having sex, and they like having sex with 1 or 2 different people. Like, if you have a backup plan, that's your thing, fine. that can be considered promiscuous because you have two different people you can sleep with at any given moment. They're the same week, same day, whatever. Right. But hopefully, you're not as selective, you know? Right. It's just, and that's why I said payment, because for them, it's what they get out of it. Yeah. That's the difference from that. You know, when I think of a difference, I think of I want to because I want to get off versus what can I get out of this because I'll give you this. So.
Interesting. Okay. So how do you feel about Matt saying 2 people in 1 month that would make you promiscuous?
Well, no. As an family, I've had my moments. But I feel like each person has their own idea based on what they're willing to tolerate and their moral standards. Okay. So that may be something he can tolerate, 2 may be his maximum, where somebody else is like, look, I don't care who you slept with last month, we're talking about today. Right. So it just depends on the person. I feel like Matt has his standards and he stuck to him. I heard that. Good boy, you'll help.
There's a big difference.
But you say there's a difference. There's payment. Absolutely.
When you stop things, like you just don't care and you just like fucking, I'm gonna fuck anybody, anything, I don't care. When you take that kind of attitude towards it, it's no longer making love, it's no longer having sex, it's no longer even fucking. It's just like something to show. Like
well, understand, most times you don't have people out there just randomly having sex for no apparent reason. There is something there getting in return. When you out there hoeing, you are not out there saying, I'm going to sleep with him just because his name is Joe and it's Tuesday. Joe is going to provide me with something else. Joe's not going to get it. That is the difference to me, because hoes usually expect something in return. Be it now, be it later, they expect it. And are usually very upfront about it.
What about
a promiscuous woman expects something in return as well? Whether it be monetary, whether it be a feeling that she wants. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still say that it's one and the same. I think, or maybe, because basically what I'm getting from you is you can be promiscuous and not be a hoe. Or if you're a hoe, you are promiscuous. Like, it's all one and the same.
What I was saying was, it's definitely all one and the same in the sense that sex with multiple partners is sex with multiple partners. I'm just saying the difference for me, when I think about the differences, based on the people that I've dealt with and the people that I know and the situations that I have seen, the difference is, oh, well, shoot, yeah, I mean, I give it up, don't pay my rent. But I can be a promiscuous woman handling my own business. I just like to have sex. So I do it because I like the feeling. That's what I get from it. But most times, when you have somebody out there, that's how they make their money. I mean, I hear it every day in my line of work. They make their money, or they supplement their income based on what they can get using their body.
Okay. Just that simple. Well, I mean, I definitely have a different outlook. I'm starting to feel like it played a lot about that number. Having read the definition myself, it pretty much says the same thing that Coco read, especially having sexual relations with a number of partners on a casual basis. That's the one I read. And reading that definition, it makes more sense to me. I could understand why it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific number, but in my mind, I came into promiscuous with a number, thinking it could be someone that has sex with this many people, etc. But what about the people that, well, first off, hearing what you had to say, Cleopatra, it automatically brought me to, what about people that claim sexual, sex addiction? Do you think that's just, everyone online, do y'all think that's just a good reason to be promiscuous, or do you really think there is a such thing as sex addiction?
Oh, it's real. It's real.
It's real.
Witnessed it. It's real. It's just like a drug addiction. It's just like a gambling addiction. It's real.
Well, I'm no expert, but again, I think that goes back to being promiscuous. Like, it's like all of it's the same, and you're looking for different definitions, but all of it's the same. I mean, you know, like we were saying, whether you're a hoe and being promiscuous, or whether you're just a promiscuous woman having sex with the same person, or whether you're a sex addict. If you're a sex addict, that still doesn't mean that you're having several sex partners. You know, several different sex partners. You could be a sex addict with your husband or your significant other. So, you know, I still think we're searching for definitions to like make this one way and this the other way, and I think it's not going to happen.
Okay.
And that's just my opinion.
Well, I think that they all cross paths at some point. They're different levels.
Right.
I feel like if you are a sex addict or a nymphomaniac, then you may not have a choice of whether you're promiscuous because you can't help it. You know, I mean, you're a bad person, or I mean, it doesn't mean anybody's a bad person. I'm just saying.
No, absolutely not.
It's all on perspective.
Right.
And the word on sex addiction, it becomes an addiction when it interferes with your daily life, when sex interferes. And it can be porn, you know, masturbation, it can be actual physical sex with different, you know, rather different partners, the same partner, whatever. It can be physical sex. I mean, there are definitely lots of levels to it, but the marker to look out for is when you can't get through a day of work without masturbating, or when you can't, you know what I mean, like, do a task that takes an hour because, you know, now it takes 2 hours because I had to stop and look at internet porn. You know what I mean? I forgot to pick my kids up from school because I was fucking some guy. Like,
that happens? Wow.
That's, no, like, but seriously, these are serious markers of sex addiction. Like, at that point, nothing else is important except the drug, except the sex. So just like a crack addict will come in his mom's house, take the TV and the VCR and roll out, even though that's his mom, you know what I'm saying? He'll come in there and roll out because that's what it's about. It's about getting the fix. It's about doing what you have to do to get the drug.
Okay. I agree.
Straight like
but
that.
But it's definitely real.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you put it in those terms.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, when they hear that, you know, they automatically think of, what's the guy, Eric Benet, that cheated on Halle Berry, because that's the point when he's like, oh, I have a sex addiction, because he was cheating. And so everybody's like, oh, this is just the new excuse. And, yes, for some people, it definitely can be an excuse. They can play it off and not have a real problem at all. But for some people, it is a very, like, deep-rooted mental issue that is best treated with therapy.
Yeah, I've seen it ruin marriages, so it is
marriages,
yeah, I've seen people try to fight, you know, to come back from it, and it's a battle. It's an uphill battle for them.
Okay. I thought of Tiger Woods. I think he claimed sexual addiction also. I'm not sure, but I'm almost positive. Tiger Woods, when he got caught, I think he also claimed sexual addiction. I think some people like things a lot, a whole lot, and they don't want to stop, and they say, I can't stop, I'm addicted. Just that simple. You have people that smoke weed, I can't stop. Then they get a job, and guess what they do? They stop. You know, so I guess that's a whole nother topic in itself, honestly, sexual addiction. But it just crossed my mind because some people that claim sexual addiction, they have multiple partners. So I wonder if they are considered a sex addict or promiscuous. And these days, it's glorified anyway. I mean, that song, Promiscuous Girl, who sung that song?
Nelly Furtado.
Yeah, I mean, and people singing it and dancing to it, and it's okay. But yeah, and still, she's also being called a hoe. So where's the balance with that? You know what I'm saying? It's okay to sing a song about it and watch the girls twerk to it, but once she claims to be promiscuous, she's a hoe. So,
right.
That definitely.
You know, the thing is, and I do apologize for like going so far back into this topic, but just historically, like men are, you know, when they're growing up, it's okay for them like to, you know, be taught to kind of spread their seed. Okay, who do they think that they are spreading it to other than other women? Okay, it's only a finite number of us on the planet. You know what I mean? Eventually, somebody's going to get fucked. You know, just to be honest. And with women, you have this reversal. You have this, you know, where you're supposed to be, you know, like back in the day that you're supposed to be like super chaste and like if you were still a virgin, like at the time that you got married, like that was a super awesome thing. And through media, through all of these decades of changes and music and all of this other stuff, it's gotten kind of switched around now. Men are the ones now who are taking, you know, more of a serious approach, you know, to getting into the game of sex, you know what I mean? They're kind of, you know, moving a little bit slower at it, whereas women, you know, us from all of these decades, all of these years of thinking that, oh, okay, well, but the guy wants us to be this way, right? But the guy wants me to do this. And then, you know, when I get to the marriage point, like, obviously we just shut the whole shit down and we just do our husband and we just do that freaky stuff for him. But in all of these songs, all of these movies and things like that, you know, women have been sexualized and they have been highly held, you know, in those sexual positions. You don't have, you know, your frumpy, ugly Betty, you know, that's starring in the movies or that's getting the guy at the end of the romantic comedy because she's not the one that's putting out. She's not the one that's looking sexy or has her ass hanging out or her tits exposed or whatever it is. So that has kind of facilitated this change as well.
That's good point.
Sorry, guys. I know that was a lot.
No, that's a really good point. Do anyone have anything else to say on the topic? Either topic. Men or women cheating.
Hoe equals promiscuity equals sex addict. We'll close out with that.
Just like that.
I'm just joking.
Everybody's getting fired.
No.
Cleopatra, you have anything else to say on either topic?
Not really. I just to add to the end of the conversation, I think women have become more open with their sexuality because our music, the women who perform, they've changed. They've become like more imbalanced in society, and it's become acceptable. Even though men say they accept it because they see it on video, it's not truly what they desire. And a lot of us fail to see that. You know, men, of course, they want a woman who's willing to have a threesome or sleep with a woman or watch him have sex with someone else. But let the roles be reversed and you'll see a huge difference in personality change. So I think it's just, we've been idolized to do these things via the videos and the media, but in real life, it's not really, that's not who they're going to make their wife. That's not, you know, those things are fun and games, but you don't usually see someone take someone who they know is extremely promiscuous and like, okay, now, you know, you're going to be with me and we're going to be together and that's just me and you. Unless they have an understanding. That usually doesn't happen. They usually use those people for more of a fun type, you know. That was the fun girlfriend and now I'm married.
Okay.
So it all stems from just, I think, a moral imbalance.
Okay. Well, we have a Melinda J. She's speaking with us via chat through your Spreaker app. You can download it and you can chat with us live as well. And she says women cheat more, in which I asked her why, so we'll wait for her reply. But she also thinks women cheat more also. We have a new caller online. Welcome to Explicit Pleasures. Who's speaking? Hello? Hello?
I don't. They want to talk, Ray.
Okay, well, we'll have a quick word from our sponsor, and we'll get back with you with the Kitty Cat Chat. Explicit Pleasures on Big Deal Radio.
Waterworks Natural Vaginal Therapy is a healthy dish alternative using stainless steel and tap water. This product is safe and is also FDA approved. Visit waterworkshealth.com or visit the Waterworks like page on Facebook. You can also purchase Waterworks at Target and CVS stores. Waterworks. Be fresher, be cleaner, be confident.
Alright, so we'll get right into it with the Kitty Cat Chat. This segment is initially for our Explicit Pleasures lady, Ms. Black. She did have prior engagement, so I'm going to cover this segment for her. Pretty much, Kitty Cat Chat is weird and unusual sex news, and it is reported from around the world. So let's get right into it. The first story that I have, all of these stories, by the way, are true. And the first story that I have is called Sex on the Beach. A Florida couple convicted of having sex on a crowded beach faces up to 15 years behind bars and must register as sex offenders for their public loving. 20-year-old Alyssa Alvarez and 40-year-old Benny Caballero was found guilty of lewd and lascivious exhibition. The prosecutor showed the jury a video filmed by a grandmother of the couple getting it in on the beach, y'all. Now, the video shows the woman moving on top of her man in a sexual manner. And witnesses, this was witnessed by several people, including a mother and her 4-year-old child. The defense, the defense really tried to convince the jury that the lady was just quote-unquote dancing on her man, in which the assistant state attorney mocked and replied, she wasn't dancing, and it's insulting your intelligence to say that she was dancing. During a hearing to discuss her sentencing date, Alyssa accepted a state-recommended sentence, and because she didn't have a criminal record, her conviction was withheld. She spent 23 days in jail, but she now has to register as a sex offender unless she appeals and she wins. They're saying that she's embarrassed, in which I would hope she is embarrassed. But this is the kicker. This is where it hit the fan. Caballero, the guy in all of this, he had prior cocaine trafficking. He went to jail for cocaine trafficking. And because the charge in this case is a felony crime and it occurred less than 3 years after he was released from prison, the judge would have no choice but to give him the full 15 years in prison. Okay, now.
Oh my God.
Exactly. While I too enjoy spontaneous, daredevil, edgy sex, like you say, you have to pick and choose your battles. In this case, I think you have to really pick and choose your sexcapades. Now, I saw a still shot from this video, and it looked hot. It was really bright and sunny. It was a nice summer day. It was broad day. They were like right smack there. Now, while I've experienced sex on the beach, it was at night, and it was not right in the middle of the beach, obvious. Now, personally, I think it was tasteless on the couple's behalf, because you don't expose people, especially kids. You do not expose kids to anything sexual. It's not your place. It's not okay. Now, something that did come to my mind about this whole story is when I read it was recorded by a grandmom. And obviously that sticks out to me because it's a grandmom. And I get a mental picture of a lady, trying to shoot her grandkids for memories, and her camera pretty much focusing on some fucking. I definitely can see how that would be disturbing for one's view. But the biggest thing, me being me, just me being me, I wonder how long this video is. You feel me? Like, I mean, they have to register as sex offenders. He looking at 15 years. he's looking at 15 years, and they have to register as sex offender. So I'm personally hoping that this video is not just a couple of minutes long, because that makes it even worse that you get 15 years for 3 minutes of beach sex. That's definitely a price to pay. In this story, I think the safest sex on the beach would be the drink. Just me. Absolutely. Yeah. Now we have another story, which is it comes from Russia. I call this one "Drowned Dead by Sex." A woman drowned while having sex with her boyfriend in a car which rolled into a river. The couple had been having a picnic. They were drinking by the river, and they began to make love in a Russian brand car called the Lada, L-A-D-A, Lada. They didn't notice the handbrake wasn't in place, so the vehicle pretty much rolled back into the river. The man, he was able to escape by kicking in the window, whereas the 35-year-old woman, she drowned. Now, once again, people, you have to be careful with sex. Now, the ladies' Explicit Pleasure, we encourage safe sex practices, and healthy behaviors. But when we say safe sex, we're not just talking about protection against STD and pregnancy. We're also talking about safe sex such as, like, stay alive. I'm pretty sure everybody online could attest to that. I personally don't see myself that engaged where I don't remember that handbrake. Because whatever is ensuring my safety, that's what has my initial attention. And me being me, instinctually, being by the water in the sexual act, I'm going to be conscious of that handbrake. That's just me. Furthermore, I think it would be a lot more romantic and comfortable for me. I am a tall woman, so it would be a lot more romantic and comfortable for me if we were having sex on a picnic blanket by the river. I wouldn't have to worry about no handbrake, no Charlie horses, no seat adjustments, and I definitely would not have to worry about my life. Now, the man, he kicked the window and he got out. I'm just trying to understand why she wasn't able to escape. Like, did he help her? Was she stuck on something? Did she run out of breath? It's just a lot of questions that come to mind. I really, really hope that he was a gentleman and at least tried to help her. Because if he didn't, this would be by far the most fucked up case of a sexual hit and run. Now, my last story, it comes out of England, and I call this story Hot Potato. A clumsy vicar was hospitalized in Sheffield after accidentally getting a potato stuck in his ass. The nurse said he explained to me quite sincerely he had been hanging curtains naked in the kitchen. He fell backwards onto the kitchen table and onto the potato. I'm sorry, y'all, but okay, let me be clear. This is my commentary. This is my commentary, so I'm just going to put it out there. This story, everything about this story has red flags. It just don't sound right to me. Let's first start off by saying he's a vicar. Now, a vicar is a member of a clergy, he's on the clergy board of a church. Now, we have a clergy member, ass naked, in the kitchen, hanging curtains. He lose balance, fall on the table, and out of all things, his ass lands on a potato. A potato. Okay. I'm sorry, it's just too much to go wrong. Now I'm gonna make these are my assumptions. I'm going to make my assumptions on how I feel like the story went. A lot of people like food play. There's a thing called food play, or the word for it is cytophilia or cytophilia, and pretty much that's the arousal of food. Now, I think that he was just being experimental, or he may have been enjoying a secret pleasure of his and he couldn't get the potato out. And because he's a man of his standing, I feel like he thought it was best to make up a story so it wouldn't affect his church or his reputation at the church. I just think it's a coincidence that he would fall ass first on a potato. I'm just not buying it. And another thing that sticks out to me is his ass is that loose that a potato can get lodged up in there. It's just a lot that don't fit in with me with this story. I would just leave that there. That was Kitty Cat Chat. This is Miss Big Bill, and I was reporting weird and unusual news on the Kitty Cat Chat. If you have any comments on any topics, if you want to talk about something during our open floor discussions, call us 641-715-3580, ID 882-390. Again, 641-715-3580, ID 882-390. To listen live or later, you can always download the Spreaker app. You can search Big Deal Radio, or you can go on your PC to Spreaker.com and search Explicit Pleasures. It's been my explicit pleasure. Thank you.
You just need to know what kind of potato it was.
Was it a fingerling? Was it a red potato? Was it kind of long?
Was it a baby one? Was it a big one?
Let's say it was one of those little red potatoes. We're talking about a man.
How big was this, y'all?
And if this is a full brown baked potato that we're talking about,
there's something just wrong with that whole story, like Ray said.
It just don't.
I got a mental note.
I mean, you had me at hanging curtains but naked in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's a lot that goes with that story. I don't know. Yeah, so tune in next week for the Kitty Cat Chat. And we will now get into the tongue tips by Miss Susie. She's going to give us some tongue tips on Explicit Pleasures on Big Deal Radio.
Okie dokie, guys. Looks like it's time for some tongue tips. This week we're going to discuss, in my opinion, the second best thing that you can do with your tongue: foreplay. I think that in this day and age, unfortunately, foreplay is a little foregone, and I think we all should get back to slowing down, taking our time, and just really exploring our partner. Of course, I advise a lot of kissing, alternating between, pecks and tongue for variety. Of course, you want to, let's just start at the top. Okay, personally, I find it completely irresistible to lick the scalp of a bald man. I know that sounds crazy, but when I just see that just baldness shining in the moonlight, I just want to lick it up. You know, if your man has hair, your partner has hair, you might want to skip that part or end up, with a mouthful of dandruff or whatever. And then just let that go. But for the bald guys, oh yeah, okay. So, now, we're going to venture over to the ears, now that we're done with the head and all. Each ear, you want to nibble, kiss, suck, tongue the earlobe. I recommend tracing every detail that the ear has to offer with your tongue so that you can really fully access each potential pleasure point. When you're going down to the neck, the rear base of the neck near the spine is a very popular pleasure point, as well as the bottom front sides of the neck as well. Like licking those areas is always fun, but the neck can take a little bit more pressure. So if this is one of the places where you want to suck and nibble a little harder, by all means, do it. And when I say nibble here, I'm just referring to a light dragging of the teeth across the skin, not full frontal biting, although if it's cool with your partner, it's cool with me. So, let's keep moving a little south. The collarbone. This is a popular area that people neglect. It's very, it's right there at the base of the neck. It's a great area to just run your tongue right before you're getting down to those nipples, okay? And nipple treatment, different for everyone, definitely dependent on your partner, so make sure to have those, pre-sex chats and stuff like that, getting you all ready and steamed up, find out what your partner does and doesn't like. Generally, soft sucking, flicks of the tongue on the nipple, they're going to both harden and straight. So that's going to be, perfect. So after you're hitting each nipple, you're going to want to let your tongue work slowly further south, okay? But we don't want to get, just straight to the point. You want to kind of kiss and lick down the mid-torso. The sides of the stomach area are also particularly sensitive to nibbling as well. And I'm sure that all of the ladies especially are familiar with the famous kind of V area on a man's body, where it's just like leading that little trail straight to Pleasure Town, okay? Now, what I want you to do here is I want you to, before you even get there, take a quick dip of your tongue or two into the belly button, you know what I'm saying? Just real quick, you know what I'm saying? Just around there, get in that area. But go back to that V. Avoid the genitals completely, okay? What I want you to do is kiss and lick and suck that V-shaped area, okay? I want you to nibble on it, drag your teeth all along it, long, lapping licks back and forth, just sucking and nibbling furiously on these areas. Either side is going to bring your partner very, very quickly to the threshold of orgasm if it doesn't produce one on its own, okay? Now, this is the perfect time, like, as you're just kind of off to the side, just kind of, you know, obviously skipping over the main portion. Once your partner has had just, almost enough, once they are at that breaking point, that's the perfect time to swiftly just engulf the genitals whole, okay? Not only is it going to be super surprising to your partner, but it's definitely going to get that orgasm produced that we started back when we were licking on the V, all right? Now, next week we're going to get a lot more in-depth with some more tongue tips and things like that, but this week's tip is to use your mouth for more than talking and engage in some lengthier foreplay sessions. Now, of course, if you guys have any tips that you'd like to hear on tongue tips or any areas that you would like me to cover, definitely email us at explicitpleasures69@gmail.com so that we can get your tongue tips heard and or your questions answered. Again, that's explicitpleasures69@gmail.com. And this has been Susie's Tongue Tips. I hope everybody's having a really good time and they're ready for more of the show. Back to you, Ray.
All right. Nice tongue tips. People, don't forget, you can always listen to us live or later.
Don't do me like that.
Okay, don't forget, you can also always listen to us live or later from your phone. Go to your App Store, your Play Store, download Spreaker, search Big Deal Radio, and follow us. You can also chat with us via that app during the actual show. And if you want to listen from your PC, simply go to Spreaker, SPREAKER.com, and search Explicit Pleasure. That's Explicit Pleasures. Excuse me, that's us. Call up. Chat with us, 641-715-3580, ID 882-390. Again, 641-715-3580, ID 882-390. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Both, actually. Follow us on both, Ladies of EP. And if you have any questions, as Susie said, email us explicitpleasures69@gmail.com. We're going to move right along, and we're going to get into Hot Coco with Miss Coco.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, here's a portion of the show called Hot Coco, where I will take questions from listeners and answer them on air. We'll start out with the first question. It reads, Coco, I have been with my boyfriend for 8 months. He is a really good guy, and we get along great. As our relationship progresses, I am not being satisfied like I want to be. His penis size is below average, and to top it off, his oral sex is not good. After he comes, he seems to think it's okay to go to sleep. I give him direction on how I like to be pleased, but he shows no effort. This is becoming a problem, and I'm ready to walk away. How can I get him to get me off? Signed, Trish. Okay, Trish. Okay, so you start out saying you've been with him for 8 months. Okay, that's good. He's a really good guy. You get along great, of course. In any relationship, that's always good. As your relationship progresses, you're not being satisfied, and his penis size is below average. Now, that penis size, of course, with most women, is a big problem. However, some women don't mind small penises, and, you know, since they're always around it, Trish. I mean, you have sex toys that you can go purchase. I'm sure you've heard of a dildo before. So perhaps, you know, y'all can go venture out, especially when you also say his oral sex is not good, okay? For me, that's a no-no. Like, I need you to know what you're doing. But also there's a way around that. You can go purchase sex toys for that as well. Perhaps, if I were you, I would open up a line of communication with him. Speak with him about it. Let him know you're not doing this, what he's not doing, what you would like him to do, and things of that nature. And then see if he might be willing to go to the sex store with you to make it better. I think with every relationship, especially since you say you've been with him for 8 months and you really like him, for every relationship, you can possibly work out a few minor things. These are minor things that could possibly be fixed. However, it has only been 8 months, so it's not the end of the world if he's not pleasing you. I don't see your relationship going very, very far if you're not being satisfied, and whether that be with him stepping his game up, which the toys may make him step his game up, or whether it be just you trying to teach him. I think it's definitely worth at least a couple of more months. Give him a couple more months, Trish, and we'll see what happens. You have to write me, email me again and let me know what happens with that. Okay, moving right along to the next question. It says, "Hi, Coco. One day while at my parents' house for lunch, I ran across some porn." Okay, first of all, I just have to stop right there, because if I'm at my parents' house and I run across porn, I'm running, I'm skipping, I'm jumping as far as I can to get away from this porn. Okay, but it says when I went home and popped it in, it was foot fetish. Okay, I'm not taking anything home, any porn home from my parents' house to pop it in nowhere. It was a foot fetish. I was surprised at my arousal, and I told my fiance about it. She is not even open to try. As soon as I began to tell her about it, she shut me down immediately before I could ask. I'm kind of upset with her not even considering. How can I convince her to at least let me put the toe in? Fine, foot in my mouth. Okay. Okay, foot in my mouth. Okay, like I said before, if I see porn at my parents' house, I'm running. And then to top it off, it's a foot fetish, and since you said you spoke with your wife about it, or your fiance, and I'm assuming that you're a man, obviously, she's not even willing to try it. I'm going to be open and honest with you, and this is just my opinion, foot in my mouth. I hope I don't hurt your feelings. But if my fiance came to me about some foot going somewhere where it's not supposed to be normally, I probably would shut down immediately as well. However, I would encourage you to speak with her in further detail about it. Possibly just sit down and tell her that this is a serious conversation that you'd like to have with her. If this is really something that you want to get into, or if you think you want to get into it, and just let her know, I really want to try this. You also, it's unclear as to when you say, how can I convince her to at least let me put the toe in? It's kind of confused. Are you trying to put a toe in her, or do you want to put her to put a toe in you? So this question is a little bit unclear. But as I stated, communication is the key in any relationship. You say that this is your fiance, so I think it is worth at least sitting down, having a serious conversation with her about it. If she's not up for it, hey, let it go. I mean, you got engaged to her, so apparently there's something there that you love about her. And I would not let this come in between that. So best of luck with that. You'll have to email me and let me know how that goes. Using my mouth. Okay. And then last but not least, the last question the last listener. Dear Coco, after my boyfriend and I used some weird condoms that boast of sensations and pleasures, I've noticed my vagina has an unpleasant smell. My boyfriend noticed as well, which was very embarrassing for me. I tried a scent suppository in which it worked temporarily, but it makes me extra moist down there, and I'm scared of possible yeast infection. What can I do? I'm self-conscious, and this is affecting my sex life extremely. Funky Monkey. Okay, Funky Monkey. Weird condoms, and now you have an unpleasant smell. Okay, yeah, I don't remember ever hearing that. Usually it's nut that has an unpleasant smell or leaves an unpleasant smell. But however, I would say just try out some different condoms maybe. Until you get to one that doesn't leave that smell. I would definitely recommend you going to, I'm not a professor, I would definitely recommend you going to a gynecologist and seek professional advice as far as what's going down there. Maybe have a few tests run.
Of course, moisture is not supposed to be a bad thing, but if it's in fact moisture from a yeast infection, then of course you need to seek some kind of professional advice. And hopefully, I would not advise suppositories. I mean, especially if you're thinking that you may have a yeast infection already, I would definitely not advise that. But yeah, just get it straightened out as soon as possible. I would hate for him to leave you because of that. But I know I wouldn't expect him to stay either with the bad smell from down there. But anyway, hopefully I was able to help. Monkey Monkey, you'll have to email me at explicitpleasures69@gmail.com. If you email me, all the listeners, make sure you put hot cocoa in the subject line. That's HOTTKOKOA. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Ladies of EP. Thank you, and this has been the Hot Cocoa segment. Back over to you, Ray.
All right. Well, I'd like to make a quick comment. Spunky Monkey, we have a sponsor, and our sponsor is Waterworks Natural Vaginal Therapy. Visit waterworkshealth.com for more info, or you can go to their Facebook like page for Waterworks. Hopefully that will help you out. We're going to move right along. We have Susie with Choose Now, Pay Later, and then we have we have Just Create with The Real. She has a special guest you guys do not want to miss. It's not too late. You can call in. You can call us and you can get ready for our open floor discussion also. 641-715-3580. ID 882390. Again, 641-715-3580. And we're going to get right into Choose Now, Pay Later with Miss Susie.
All right. Hey, y'all. It is Susie, as Ray said, back with another installment of Choose Now, Pay Later. Last week, we discussed Jason, the aspiring bigamist, who he wants to child with every nationality on the planet, and his Aunt Carla, who is in the middle of a midlife crisis, but also thotting it up in the streets every night, although she has someone else's husband waiting on her at home. But this week, we're going to be checking in on Carla's daughter, Evie, and seeing what kind of crazy she brings to the bunch. Now, Evie, she's in her mid-20s, 5'5", brown skin, honey brown eyes, no kids, never been married. She's a total catch, okay? Smart, cordial, engaging, just beautiful. That's how people used to describe her before she met Adonis. Okay, he's the 6'5" Neanderthal of a man who works construction, and he has an affinity for weed and Hennessy. And as soon as they met, he had a hold on her that no one could explain. It seemed like things were fine on the outside, but every night you could hear them arguing for a while, only to stop and make love. And, well, that's using the term pretty loosely, but Adonis would pretty much exert his power over her in the bedroom every single night to make sure that Evie was staying in line and acting properly the next day. So, they had recently gotten engaged, held a picnic celebration. Everyone was having a great time, dancing and eating, smoking and drinking, until Evie's ex, Eric, showed up. Now, Eric had just returned from Iraq the week before, had no idea he was going to see Evie, and her cousin Jason, said, Eric, hey, come along, be my wingman, let me, why don't you help me get more girls, into this harem, pretty much. Now, as soon as Eric saw Evie, y'all was on and popping, okay? He crossed the whole park, made a beeline straight toward her, only to be disappointed by the sparkling new presents on her finger. Now, of course, Evie freaked out. She was like, look, Eric, you gotta go. You gotta get out of here before Adonis finds out who you are, okay? Because no matter how this accident occurs, she knows that Adonis is gonna make it her fault. Now, Eric agreed to leave, but not before asking to see her again. So, Evie quickly shook her head yes, and as soon as she did, Adonis was on her heels asking who Eric was and insisting on introducing himself. Y'all, he was puffing his chest up like he was ready to fight out there. Now, Eric saw the pleading look in Evie's eyes, so he didn't start a fight, but he definitely was visibly pissed. So, as they left the party, Eric and Jason, all Evie got from Adonis was a stern look. She knew what was going to happen later that night, and Eric didn't know for sure, but he definitely had an idea. So, Eric and Jason hatched a plan. And a few days later, Evie showed up at her cousin's house ready to babysit the kids, but as soon as she entered, She saw a table set for two, glasses, wine bottle, everything set up, and Eric sitting at the end of the table in his finest. Evie was pissed. But he convinced her to sit down and just relax and have dinner. So, the question is, how deep is this thing really between Evie and Adonis? Is she really going to marry him? Is she going to risk everything by secretly meeting with Eric? Will Eric win Evie back, or is Adonis going to secure his bride and take her away from family and all? You'll have to tune in next week when we update you guys on the crazy lives of the characters in Choose Now, Pay Later. Now, as I've said plenty of times before, the story series is going to get deep, and it's going to get sexy, and it's going to get seductive. A lot like my book, The Birds, the Bees, and the Boudoir. Now, you guys can find this collection of very sexy erotic poetry on Amazon, Books A Million, or BarnesandNoble.com. Again, that's The Birds, the Bees, and the Boudoir, available on Amazon. Also, of course, again, if you guys have any questions for me or about this segment, please send all of your questions to explicitpleasures69@gmail.com, and definitely remember to follow us at Ladies of EP on Facebook and Twitter. That's it for me right now this week, you guys. I'm going to see you again next week with more crazy updates, but it's back to you, Ray.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As I said before, it's never too late to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Ladies of EP. Just that simple. We actually had someone comment during Coco's segment. Jeremiah said, Dr. Coco. That lets people know that you can download the Spreaker app on your the App Store, the Play Store, Spreaker, SPREAKER. Search Big Deal Radio, follow us. Now, when you follow us, you do have the option to chat with us, and we can see it and we can talk with you over the app. We're going to move right along, and we're going to get into the real feature, Miss Just Create. Hey, lady.
Hey, how you doing, sugar?
I'm good. What you got for us today?
All right, so today I have my mother on the line with us, and my mother has been living with HIV and AIDS for the last 31 years, and she's going to tell us a little bit more, give us a little more information about where we can be tested. You know, there is a campaign going out, No New Diagnosis by 2020, and she's going to give us tips on how we can achieve that. You know, this is totally a curable or preventable disease, I should say. You know, that doesn't have to be spread if you just take the necessary precautions, and you can have a longevity in your life if you just, you know, listen to what your doctors say. And I know it's a lot of different stigmas that come along with it, but if you just work through them, you can be very healthy and very productive in your life. So, my mother's name is Tony Pryor. Miss Pryor, you on the line with us?
I sure am.
Hey, Ma.
Hey, baby, guess what? Everybody.
Hello.
I am so proud of my daughter because she just answered every question I was going to answer on my own. So now I guess what I need is for other people to ask me questions because you summed that up really nice. I'm proud of you. You pay attention.
Every night and again, I'll listen.
Okay. So how can I help you?
Yeah.
Hello?
Would you like to say something?
How can I help you?
Well, first, tell our audience a little bit more about you.
I'm your mom. I'm 60 years. If I live until October, and I believe I will, I'll be 60 years old. This past Saturday, I discovered that I have been HIV positive for 31 years. I'm a grandmother. I am a sister. I'm a really good friend. I'm a believer in the Lord. And every day, I try to make God smile. I do whatever I can to help other people and answer any and all questions regarding HIV to the best of my ability. And if I don't have an answer, I know somebody that does.
Okay, so you say you've been living with it for 31 years?
31 years, yes, ma'am.
Okay, so back when you were first diagnosed was in the 80s, and I know there was a very, very negative stigma that was associated with being diagnosed with HIV. What are some things that you've learned as coping mechanisms or just life experiences over the last 31 years that has allowed you, to have such a useful longevity in this?
In the beginning, when I got my diagnosis, I was 29 years old, and I was already addicted to cocaine. And so I said, well, what next? Is to hurry up and end this misery. However, that wasn't my destiny, and so I've had to adapt to a lot of different coping mechanisms over the years. But today, my coping mechanism is honesty, just the freedom of truth, being able to share my story, to see it change lives, to be a vessel of information for those who have genuine questions, but to enlighten those I see along my path who have no idea what's going on. Whatever I can do to benefit HIV/AIDS wellness and awareness, I'm there.
That is awesome. I'm very proud of you, Mom. And I know that you work on a mobile testing unit. Tell us a little bit more about that unit and how can we access that if we want to, how can we find the location where it's going to be at?
Okay, I have the honor and the pleasure of assisting on the mobile testing unit here in Jacksonville, Florida, that is sponsored by AHF, which is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, formerly known as the Magic Johnson Clinic. And we have several websites that you can access to find out where the van will be located, as well as how to schedule a date for the van to participate in an event or to appear at a location that you make the request for. And the first would be WeMakeTheChange.org to directly access AHF. It would be free HIV dot
what? Mother? Did we lose her already?
No, she's still here.
.net. Did you get that?
freehiv.net?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was one website you gave just before you gave the freehiv.net. What was that site?
WeMakeTheChange.org.
WeMakeTheChange.org.
Yes.
And I know I said it in my introduction that you guys are striving to have zero diagnosis, new diagnosis by 2020. Can you tell us a little bit more about that campaign and what's going on? What are some leadways that we're doing with that?
Well, right now, we are being our wellness and our strive. We have had 88,000 tests done in the last 4 years, which is we think is great. However, recently we've had a spike of new infections in Duval County, but we believe that through our efforts, we have some of the best surveillance and data gathering teams, I believe, in America right here in Duval County. And we believe that with the efforts of the dedicated professionals here in this area, we will have those numbers back down to below our average rate. Duval County right now Florida right now is the third state, highest state in the union. We fluctuate between first and third with New York and California. Right now we're in third place. But our goal is to have no new infections by the year 2020. And I believe we can do that. But it's about knowing your status. It's about getting tested. It's about for seniors knowing that gray hair is not a condom and that HIV is a non-respecter of persons. all you have to have is warm red blood. If you have warm red blood, you qualify for HIV. So the key is get tested. Know that you know somebody with HIV. It affects or infects all of us. And just educate yourself, educate others, and we're going to win. We're going to win. We're going to win. It's not a, it's like I got HIV, HIV don't have me. You know?
And for the newly diagnosed, do you have any advice for those? I mean, being a person who is affected by HIV, I know that I went through a lot of different things, a lot of different emotional changes. So I can only imagine what a newly diagnosed person would go through. Do you have any advice for that person?
For sure. First thing, get into care as soon as possible. And once you get into care, stay into care. Be adherent to your medication schedules. Listen to the advice given to you by your infectious disease provider. If you have any questions, ask. You have to be your own best health care advocate. But you can live. I am proof. You can live. And there are people who have lived and are living longer than I have. So it's not a death sentence. You only die if that's your choice. If you choose to die, wherever your brain is, your body gonna follow. So, but you know that's hot. Yes, ma'am.
So you are living for the
and get a support group. And get a support group. Find your support group. You know, you might not be a structured support group in your area. You find those two friends you know some stuff about them they don't want nobody to know. You can share some stuff with them you don't want nobody to know. But get you some support. Be able to talk about it. Go online and find your support group if you can't find anybody that you physically trust with your information. And know that from here on out, you are responsible for maintaining your disease and controlling it.
Thank you so much for that. Ma, I do have one more question I want to ask you. If there's anything that you would want our listeners to take away from this segment, what would be it?
Get tested. Know your status. We have tests so sensitive today that you can go and if you think that last night you had sex with somebody and they might be a little suspect and you didn't do everything you should have done to take care of your business, they have something called PrEP. And you can go to the emergency room and request a PrEP. And a PrEP is like a post-prophylactic. It doesn't always work, but it works more times than it doesn't. And so that's how advanced this fight is. We now can track it in a short period of time and begin to treat it. And the sooner it is treated, the better your body will be able to maintain.
That is wonderful to know. And again, that is all, at SHAMP, I know specifically has it, but you can go to any one of your ERs and get tested. Testing is always 100% confidential. You don't have to worry about, you going in and getting tested.
This is what I tell people. This is what I do when I go to work. I tell people this. In order to be tested for an HIV test, you have to have an informed consent slip. The information is this. Step 1. This test is 100% confidential. I cannot tell anybody that you've been on this land for any reason. Step 2. Our test is 99.9% accurate. So, if you get the results that you are not expecting and you think our test is broke, we encourage you, we beg and ask you to please go get retested as soon as possible. And last but not least, you're giving us permission to test you on that plan and give you your results on that plan. So that's how that goes.
All right, ladies, do you have any questions?
I definitely do. Thank you so much for calling in, Miss Tony, first and foremost. I really appreciate you calling in the show. The first question that came to my mind is, how did it, when you got your status, how did it change your friendships? Was it something that you kept to yourself? Was it something that you were open about? And if so, how did it change your friendships, if it did change your friendships?
Yeah, it's an amazing question. For me, it triggered something called involuntary amnesia. And I came home, I told my responsible other, and I commenced to doing what I was doing before they told me I had this diagnosis. That it was a possibility that I had this diagnosis, because when I first, other local hospital could identify what was wrong with me, and my blood had to be sent to New York for testing. And in the period that it took for it to get to New York and get tested, they released me from the hospital. And in releasing me from the hospital, I went home, I told my responsible other, and I pushed it into a corner and I let it stay there. And it stayed there for a long time until I was in a group session and I heard somebody else talking about it. And I started crying, and everybody asked me why was I crying. I was crying because I had been keeping the secret for so long. And to finally hear somebody else say it made me want to say it too.
Okay.
So it definitely changed friendships for me. In the end, it has gotten me way more true friends than I ever had before. Because now when you're my friend, you're my friend for real. You know what I'm saying? You're my friend for real. So it's alright. It's alright.
Okay.
It's alright. I'm a better person because of it. And I know that might be hard to understand, but there's a lot of things I do better today because I have HIV that I might not be doing if I didn't. So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions for Miss Tony?
I do. In a situation where you have people that you know that are that have a positive status, and you know you kind of see people's lives crumbling around them because they're trying to deal with it on their own. Is there any suggestions as far as how to encourage them to seek assistance? Like, you know, reach out and speak to somebody, because it's somebody that can relate to what they're going through, as opposed to, you know, you talk to me and I feel bad, of course, for what you're going through, but I can't really relate. So it's hard for me to, you know, give the positive outlook that probably is needed in a situation where it's new and it's fresh. So is there any advice you can give someone who...
Yes, ma'am. That's what, earlier I suggested support groups. I emphasize support groups. And here in Jacksonville, we have a support group that is designed for the infected and the affected, because sometimes it is hard for the infected to deal with what they're going through because those around them who are affected don't know how to deal with it. So our support group will be my best suggestion for a starting point and getting a handle on feelings and different situations. And a support group will be to the newly diagnosed. Different support groups will be offered in the cascade of care at the beginning. You know, shortly after. I mean, that's all part of helping a newly diagnosed person adjust to what's going on around you. We don't just throw your diagnosis and go on to the next patient. It don't work like that. We got a system set up because it's not an easy thing to get through, but it is a thing that we can get through if we go through it together.
Okay. With that being said, this is Coco. I have a question, and I admire you for your strength. I have a question. Do you date? I know you're kind of older, but that's not to say that you can't date.
First of all, I am fabulous.
Now,
fabulous. I am a fabulous, 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 adorable bundle of softness and cuteness.
I know that's right.
I really do believe you.
Okay, so and the next thing is, I don't date, but it has nothing to do with HIV. I don't date because my dating antenna is broke, and I pick all the wrong type of guys. So right now I'm sitting and I'm waiting patiently for God to be my antenna and send me the right guy. But as far as dating with HIV, yes, been there, done that. Got T-shirt, cuffs, broken heart, balance, all kind of stuff. It don't have nothing to do with my HIV. It's that I don't have a good sense of picking the right guys. So I'm waiting until the right guy pick me.
I know that's right.
Okay.
That's all that is.
I know that.
Now, if you or whenever that right guy comes along, when do you tell him this? Or is it on the first date, or is it?
Maybe she tell him when she tell him her name, but she tell him when she tell him her name.
Okay. I just wanted to know because it's like
I don't tell him when I tell him my name. First of all. But, however, I don't think it's appropriate to share information that you don't need to know before you need to know it.
Right.
Am I ashamed? No, I'm a national spokesperson. I travel throughout the state of Florida. I've been to the White House. I've been to Washington. I carry this message everywhere, anywhere they ask me to. So 9 times out of 10, if you like me, you probably already know. But in the event that you don't know, yes, I will tell you. I will tell you, and it is appropriate for anybody infected to disclose with their partner before they have sex. That's the law. That's the law. So, I mean, it's not good in any type of relationship, in my opinion, to tell your life story on the first date. So that would be part of the life story. I'll probably start out telling them about how I had to churn and stuff first. Yeah. But, yes, ma'am. I would tell them, but maybe not the first day.
Right.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing with us.
Do anyone else have any questions for Miss Tony?
I think that was probably about. I think that Coco. I believe that was Coco who had the last question. Again, we do thank you all for being so open with us. I know this is a passion of yours. I feel, and vicariously, it's a passion of mine because you're my mother, and I support you in everything that you do. I will have the website listed on our Facebook page, which is Ladies of E. That's how you follow us, Ladies of EC. But the Facebook page is Explicit Pleasures. I will have that information listed for all of our listeners or Facebook friends on that page. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me directly through our email, which is the Explicit Pleasures 69, and just put the real in the subject line. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have that you may not want to ask on air. Trust me, I'm like second nature to this subject matter anyway. My mother is always free. I know I didn't ask her before I said this, but my mother's always free. She's also a certified tester. If you don't want to go into a facility and test, I'm quite sure if you reach out to us, she'd be more than willing to test you in the privacy of your own home, her own home. Just let her know. Most important thing is that everybody knows their status. Explicit Pleasures wants to make sure that on top of everything else that we talk about, that we are safe, that we do practice safe measures, whether it's preventing STDs or preventing that emergency clutch from taking you into the river and you drowning. We just want to make sure you're safe whatever you do. So you can get that information on our page. Again, follow us, Ladies of EP. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and our email address again is explicitpleasures69@gmail.com. You can always put the subject matter in the line. Just create. You can put the real. If it's Coco, hot Coco. You can do all those different things. Just feel free to contact us about any subject matter. And that concludes my segment. Sorry. I'm throwing it back to you now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Ma.
Okay, again, I like to remind people you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, Ladies of EP. Don't forget to download the app. Go to your Play Store, your App Store, download Spreaker, Spreaker. Search Big Dove Radio. Follow us. You can also go to www.spreaker.com and you can search Explicit Pleasures. We are there. I'm very happy that you had the guest you had today, Miss Tony, on your segment Just Create, because that pretty much shows our listeners this isn't just a typical call in and talk about positions and freaky stuff. We keep people informed. We highlight sexual health behaviors and healthy practices for both ladies and men. We encourage STD testing, HIV testing. We encourage safe sex, period. And I'm happy that we had Miss Tony on the show. That was really awesome. This part of the show pretty much is open floor discussion. Anything anyone want to talk about, this is now the time to talk about it. I like to give one more shout out to our sponsor, Waterworks Natural Vaginal Therapy. Go to waterworkshealth.com, or you can search Waterworks on Facebook and get informed there on their like page. Again, this is open for discussion. I like to start off by asking you ladies and gentlemen, how do y'all feel about this gay marriage being legalized? I've seen both good and bad reviews on it, so I kind of wanted to touch on that to see how you feel about the gay marriage.
Well, from my standpoint, Just Create does not have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. If that makes you happy, then do what makes you happy. You don't. I mean, you don't have to give an explanation to anybody. If being with that person, regardless of they're the same sex, different sex, if that makes you happy, do what makes you happy. This is your life. And if somebody does not appreciate what you're doing in your life, then that person probably shouldn't be a part of your life.
Just like that.
Yeah. I just feel like to judge them would be like them judging me. And like Just Create stated, I have no heaven or hell to put them in. Ultimately, they have to answer to God themselves, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like it's not my position to judge anyone at this point, you know, because I know how it feels to be judged, and it's not a good feeling. And so, you know, I just try to love people, you know, people, that's still a person, that's still a human being. You know, so who am I to not dislike this person because of their sexual preference? You know, what if they went around, and I'm talking about gay, lesbian, what if they went around not liking straight people because they're straight? You know what I'm saying? Then what kind of world are we really living in? So I think a person's a person. You know, you look at that person for who they are. You respect that person. If you give me respect, I give you respect. And that's the bottom line to it.
Exactly. Respect my mind, I'm going to respect your mind.
Just that simple.
Anyone? I have a question to add to that. Are we referring to the actual act of having the right to get married, or liking or disliking someone based on the fact that they now have those rights? Because I hear like or dislike, or who am I to judge? But you know, I had a pretty decent debate on Facebook the other night in regards to this, and I only say that because somebody actually compared it to slavery. So, yeah, the young lady said that the rights were compared to slaves being freed. So that right there is where it sparked my interest. It wasn't, you know, I don't care if a purple unicorn marries a spotted monkey. That's your business. But when it comes to the legality of it, and it comes to the moral standing of the people who are forced to perform these acts, then is it then an issue, or is it like, well, because we feel like we deserve this, then you should do it even though it goes against everything morally you stand for?
Well, yeah, I had a slight issue with it being legalized. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm sorry, who is that speaking? Who is that speaking?
This is Coco.
Oh, okay.
This is Coco. I had a slight issue with it being legalized, but then once I sat down and thought about it, it goes back to the same thing. Like, who am I to, you know, how do I know what these people are going through in order to make these decisions? Perhaps they're gay, you know, and I just, it's kind of crazy to me because, like you said, I appreciate a person for them being a person, or like I said, I appreciate them for being a person more over, oh, he's gay, or oh, she's gay, I don't like her. But then when you get to the legalities of it, it's like, is that really necessary? You know, but in their eyes, it obviously is necessary in order for them to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Because once that decision came in, oh, you know, they're painting the White House with rainbows and shit like that. So, you know, I think that's a bit much. But, you know, I kind of get it. Well, if that makes sense. Well,
this is right. I have to touch on what you said. People don't understand. It's certain benefits you don't get if you're not married. It's just that simple. Mm-hmm. You have people that can't receive Social Security. Just a whole bunch of different stuff. That's, you know, I could definitely get into another topic. But people don't understand. These people have been living together forever. Some of them. And they finally have the opportunity to become married. That's I mean, it could be out of love, obviously, but it also could be because, you know, benefits. Certain things you do not get if you are not married. That's for one. For two, the issue that I have is a lot of what I've seen online is a lot of homophobia. A lot of people have the put the rainbow thing on their picture, and people going in about that, oh, this and that and this and that. Well, why is it okay for us to move in without marriage, sleep with the... Now, I'm speaking from people, Christians mainly, religious beliefs. Okay, it's okay for you to sleep in the same house, in the same bed, and have sex, in which I'm pretty sure that's considered a sin. It's okay for you to lie almost on a daily basis, in which that's also a sin. But you're able to judge two people of the same sex being married, in which is, you know, they consider a sin as well. Why is that greater than you fornicating and you having children out of wedlock and lying on it and stealing, etc., on a daily basis?
It's not.
It absolutely is not. It absolutely is not.
So, say people who want to use the Bible in their and have it interpreted for their benefit, then you should read it where it says that no one sin is greater than the other sin. I don't want to be religious because I'm not. You know, I was raised Baptist, grew up in the South, raised Baptist. So of course, being gay or having a same-sex partner was not something that was openly around me. It was something I wasn't exposed to until I was an adult or almost an adult. I even had my grandmother's best friend before she died, which was a younger man. He cried when he told her because he didn't want her to feel, you know, that they were less of friends because he had a same-sex partner. And from that point forth, I had a whole new understanding of, you know, these people are truly people.
They're people.
They don't necessarily like the same person to make them less of a person. They still have feelings. They still have emotions that they go through. You know, and like Ray was saying, they don't get the same benefits as being in a long-term relationship with the same person for years. Because I know same-sex couples that have been in the same relationship for years, and they can't get, if that person goes into the hospital, they're not considered next of kin. They have no legal rights to that person. That person's family has to make all those decisions, and in that aspect, I don't think it's right. I think they should have those rights. They should be able to make those decisions.
This is Susie, and I recently had a cousin, a homosexual cousin who passed, and had been living with his partner for 16 years, and you know, they were living away, you know, from the rest of the family geographically, and when he passed, you know, his partner had to, you know, call from Florida all the way up, you know, to D.C. to inform the rest of the family because they wouldn't let him view the body.
wouldn't let him, go to the hospital, wouldn't do any of these things. Like, even the aftermath of that, he was kicked out of his home because the home was in the name of, my relative. But it wasn't in the name, of his partner. Things like that are definitely, like, especially, in terms of life and death, medical emergencies and things like that. I definitely agree with Just Create on this one. You definitely need all of those benefits to be afforded to you.
Yeah. Well, I knew it was on the verge of change when my job started offering. At one time, domestic partners, you could have a domestic partner and put them on your benefits, but it would cost you like crazy money.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that the change was on the way when that stopped happening. Like, they had it where you could have domestic partner a spouse / domestic partner, and it was the same amount. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that change was coming when I saw that. So, I mean, like we keep saying, they're people just like us. So, I mean, and just with you guys sharing those stories, especially the one about your cousin, Susie, I mean, they have feelings and emotions just like we do. And just to think that you've been with someone all these years and you've shared, love is clearly love in a relationship in their eyes, and then they pass and you can't see them. Like, really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes to the moral part of it, as far as the courts making a decision, it's kind of like it goes hand in hand with you got to respect them as people, so I just think
I think that's something that is just generally missing from today's society. I think that that we generally just lack respect for each other as people. I think that nowadays, in our, internet savvy, everything fast, everything personalized, everything quick and on the go, when you're thinking about those kinds of things, it has the tendency to turn us into selfish people. Hence, selfies and their popularities. Okay? But, with things like that and being selfish like that, that has a toll on the respect that you give other people. And when you feel like you're in a position that you're above someone else or that you can judge someone else or anything like that, those things eat away at another person's rights in your mind, like just subconsciously. So I can definitely see how we have that problem today, although I don't agree with it.
Right. Yep, me too. It's not like I'm saying, oh, yay, gay marriage. But it's not like I'm like, oh, what's going on, Like, it's when you look at it in perspective, it makes sense.
I mean, I think it's crazy anyway that people are so, so focused on the homosexual culture. Like, oh, well, let people do what they want in their bedrooms.
And that's exactly it.
You don't see people chastising furries out in the street. You know what I mean? Like, just because somebody wants to get in a giraffe costume to get their rocks off doesn't mean that they're crazy, or it doesn't mean that they are, toxic or gross, or they should not be able to, be married or live a happy life and, try and run for that pursuit of happiness like the rest of us are. It's whatever happiness is for you. Do you and be happy.
And another thing, how people could be really good friends and start not really good friends, but start to build a relationship with someone. Like, oh, I like this person. I think we may become friends. And then they find out one way or another this person is gay. And it's amazing how just because of one aspect in your life, your sexual preference, how it's like, okay, no, I can't even be your friend. I had an instance like that with a friend of mine. Well, I'm not sure what to call this person. I wouldn't say friend quite yet, but it was a guy. I'm sorry?
An associate.
Yeah, we'll say an associate. And come to find out, he identifies as bisexual. And he was very open and honest. I'm going to be honest, I know I have more problems with down low. I have problems with down low people, specifically guys, because I feel like being down low, you are taking away a lot of women's choice. And the reason why I say that is because you didn't give her the choice to decide whether she still wanted to deal with you, knowing you like to deal with men as well as women. So my big thing is down low men. I have a serious problem with that. I think it's kind of sad that they can't be themselves, so they rather be deceitful to other people. But that's what my issue is. I don't have to agree with a lot of things, but I understand. I've worked in healthcare. I understand domestic partnership for a moment was actually like not really on many policies at all, and if they were costly. So I get it, and it's been times where people have been together forever, their family shunned them, don't want nothing to do with them. Now this person passes away, the domestic partner can't bury this person how they know they want to be buried and everything. And not only that, sometimes the family even push them all the way out the picture, not allowing them to even be at the funeral, etc. It definitely gets ugly. So I mean, in that aspect, I get it, you know. I just say to each his own. You know, you live your life. I have a saying, people that's close to me know my saying. If you are laying on your deathbed, are you going to die like, man, I should have did this, I should have did that? Or will you be halfway satisfied like, yeah, I lived. I did a lot of things I wanted to do. And I feel like that's how you should live every day. Live every day like you don't have a tomorrow. It's always going to be something people don't agree with or don't like. It's your life, though. You have to make your ultimate decisions for your life. We're going to end the show now. I like everyone online to give me your last thoughts, last words, or saying something before we close out the show.
All right, well, this is Just Create, and before we sign off, I want to go back to my segment, make sure everybody knows their status. It is so important. We do have the goal of no new diagnosis by 2020, and it is so obtainable. All it takes is just prevention, knowing your status, and if you know it, we can stop it. Want everybody to be happy. Please don't forget to follow us. It's Ladies of EP on Twitter, so Facebook. If you have any questions or concerns, reach out to us. You can always email us at Explicit Pleasures. I'm sorry, I messed that all up. Explicit Pleasures 69@gmail.com. And again, y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Coco, I would just like to leave you with be happy, be kind, spread love, literally.
Okay.
All right. Well, this is Susie, everyone. Firstly, reminding you of this week's tongue tip, which is to use your mouth for more than talking and engage in some lengthier foreplay sessions. And secondly, to remind you guys, of course, to pick up my book, okay? It's The Birds, the Bees, and the Boudoir on Amazon for all of your late night, sexy, freaky, kinky poetry desires. So check that out. The Birds, the Bees, and the Boudoir.
All right. Next, we have Miss Cleopatra. You have anything to say before we end the show?
I just like to say, I kind of get a new perspective on things from just kind of listening. I tend to be single-minded at times when it comes to things that I'm passionate about, but you guys definitely set me straight in a couple ways.
All right.
So I appreciate the diversity.
Thank you so much. That's always good to hear. That's the point of Explicit Pleasures. It's just not a show you call in and you talk freaky. We like to inform, give you different ways to look at things, period. And hopefully everybody can walk away with something that they didn't know or they only looked at it one way. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And we have Mr. Matthew. You still there?
My final words, I'd say, would be, be kind, rewind. Take back to some stuff every now and then. Just with some old costumes and stuff. Spice it up in the bedroom. That's all.
All right, well, that was our show. Please do not forget, you can listen to us later or live from your phone. Go to your app store, go to your Play Store, download Spreaker, Spreaker, search Big Deal Radio, and follow us. You can also chat with us during the show, or you can comment on the show afterwards through that app. Also, if you want to listen from your PC, Spreaker.com, search Explicit Pleasures. You can always call us Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 641-715-3580, ID 882-390. You can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook, Ladies of EP. If you have any questions for any of the ladies, email us explicitpleasures69@gmail.com. If you want to say something to Miss Susie, make sure you put in the subject line, choose now, pay later, or tongue tips. If you want to speak to Coco, make sure you put in that subject line, hot Coco, that's HOTT, Coco, KOKOA. And if you want to speak to Miss Just Create, make sure you put in that subject line, The Real. It's always been our explicit pleasure. Thank you so much for calling the show. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Explicit Pleasures on Big Deal Radio. Thank you. Good night.